It's day 3 of our hatchback drive around the northeast, and yesterday was an absolute horror. But today is a new day. It looks like it's going to be a clearer day. We are in Tripura, we've seen some fabulous roads here, and we've saved the best for last. The Toyota Etios Liva and the new Maruti Swift.
Are you the kind that leaves behind a small piece for the end of the meal, saves the best for last? I am, and that's why I've left the Swift for the end of this test. Now don't get me wrong, all the other cars in this test, they're all pretty good. But the Swift, it takes everything that the others do and raises it up a notch, goes up by 10%. The switch to 15-inch wheels, it's really done the trick in terms of ride quality. Over these bad roads, and these roads are pretty bad, the Swift rides well, nothing shakes or rattles or comes loose, and passengers don't throw up, and the grip from the new tires are much better. Most of all, the steering feel hasn't been corrupted. There's still that delicacy, that fluidity to the chassis, and the communication from the steering, from the seat of the pants, that makes the Swift such a great car to drive. Cars in India, unfortunately, are mostly used as a point A to point B tool. But the Swift, you can use it from A to B and it'll put a smile on your face.
Toyota will be the first to admit that the Liva has been engineered for the 99% of the market that wants comfort and utility rather than dynamically inclined motoring journalists. But this is a compromise that we'd all be happy to live with. The ride quality is superb, so good in fact that our camera person Gautam has been very reluctant to leave this car to shift to anything else to film from. But accompanying the well-damped ride is considerable body roll and a light steering. So while the Liva does feel that it can hang with the Swift when pushed hard around some twisties, most drivers will lack the confidence to take this car to the absolute edge of its dynamic envelope. Almost every motoring journalist I know went completely gaga over the Toyota Etios' 1.5-litre petrol engine, especially its low-end grunt. And when measured up against that motor, this 1.2-litre unit in the Liva doesn't feel as special. But in this company, it does rather well. Better in fact than every other motor, barring the Swift's wonderful 1.2-litre unit.
The 1.2-litre K-series engine was always the pick of its field, but Maruti Suzuki hasn't rested on its laurels. They've worked on this engine and they made it even smoother, even more refined and even more eager to rev. It now gets variable valve timing on the intake side, and that improves power by 2 horsepower, torque goes up, performance improves, fuel efficiency goes up. In fact, everything has improved. Even the gear shift quality, which was always the best in its class, has improved a notch. This engine is a little jewel, a little gem of an engine, the best 1.2-litre engine you can buy.
The Swift began this drive after we finished filming our first road test of the car in Udaipur, Rajasthan. And now, a fair few days later, we're finally at our final destination. This is Udaipur in Tripura, and what a drive it has been. The longest, hardest, most difficult, most everything drive we have ever done here on Overdrive. And Sirish, all your fault.
I know this is taking crazy to a whole new level. I thought Baralacha was mad, but this place is just mental. But as an environment to test these small cars, I don't think we could have found a better place.
Well, that's one thing I'll admit. This is a location where we've tested these cars to their absolute limits. None of these cars hold any secrets from any of us anymore. And that brings us to the Etios. And now, Sirish, that's a car that, I've had people come up to me after seeing it in showrooms and telling me, look, we're not that impressed. But I can tell you one thing. You need to spend some time in this car to realize that Toyota have done a fabulous job with engineering the Liva.
See, very impressive car. When I drove the car the first time, when I drove the Etios for the first time, I said that the engineering was extremely good, and it is. We didn't know how well engineered for India, but now this test proves that this car is perfect for India. The ride, okay, it's nice, it's comfortable, it's soft, and that's why it rolls a bit, but it feels very comfortable. The steering is light, easygoing. The entire car is light, so it's effortless to drive. Really, it takes no effort out of you. The only problem I feel are those interiors.
And it's not that, it's bad quality interiors. The plastics are of decent quality and everything fits well. Nothing has fallen out or rattled or any of that.
But the design.
Exactly. See, don't forget, the space is very good. It's the most spacious car in this test and it is the most comfortable car in this test. But when you look at it, you go and just feel, why? No, why do you have to feel like you're sitting in a car that's built to a price? It doesn't have to be. The Swift, for instance. Now that doesn't feel built to a price, does it?
Exactly, and the fully loaded Liva is actually more expensive than the fully loaded Swift. And if there's one thing that car proves, interiors can be built to a price, to a high level of quality.
Exactly, the interiors are so good, they're so well designed, they're so well finished, the cabin is nice, it puts a smile on your face. You look at this car and you go, wow, right? You sit inside the car and you go, wow. And then you drive the car and you go, super wow. It's such a nice car to throw around, it's enjoyable, the steering has got life in it, there's communication, it handles well, it grips well, it rides well, it does everything that you want. If you had to pick holes in it, what would you do?
Loading lip is a bit high, boot space is a bit small, and the rear, especially because it's all black and the windows are kind of tiny, feels a bit cramped for me.
Yeah, but Sandeep, nobody's as tall as you. For normal, average-sized human beings, these interiors, they're comfortable, they're adequate. They're not as comfortable as the Liva, but they're okay, they do the job, but it puts a smile on my face. And that's it. This is the car I want to take home. Not now. Right now, Jet Airways is calling. Enough of driving, man.
Yeah, I can't believe we're saying this on Overdrive, but we're done with driving. We don't want to sit in a car anymore. And that brings us to the end of this episode. We'll be back next week and we'll be sitting in a lot of cars then. Take my word for it. But see you next week.
Yeah, but right now, emergency exit seat.
Jet Airways!